We can start.
Okay, you're recording?
Yes.
Great. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to ask Joy for a roll call to verify quorum.
Of course. Good morning, all. I hope you can hear me. I'm just going to read everyone's name. Just please respond. Of course, Commissioner Kletter.
Here.
Shimon DeGram.
I'm here.
Joseph Gregory.
Present.
Elizabeth Nauer.
I'm here.
Madeline Lagori.
Here.
Jorge Martinez.
Present. Good morning, everyone.
Russell Pacunas. We see you. Thomas Scheffner.
Here.
Matthew Smith.
Here.
Douglas Swan.
Here.
Jared Whittington.
Here.
We have 100% attendance. All present.
Excellent. Thank you. Before we start, I just want to take a minute to thank everybody for all the work that they've done during this pandemic. You know, we thought it would be a month or two. We're now 10 months in, and it's been, the work has been remarkable and extraordinary. You know, I've listened in on most of the panel meetings, and I'm always incredibly impressed by the attention and the scrutiny that you all give to each and every case. It really is extraordinary. So thank you all, and thank you to the Oath staff for everything they've done. You know, in the hearings division, we've now done over 80,000 remote hearings since mid-March. I know we've also done thousands of appellate cases. I don't have the exact number, but it's in the thousands. So I assume. Thank you all so much, and I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy during this difficult time. So I just wanted to acknowledge all the work, and I'm now going to ask for a motion to adopt the minutes from the October 22nd, 2020 meeting.
Motion.
Yes.
Thank you, Madeline. Does anyone have any corrections? I'm going to ask Joy to call for a vote to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to start with asking if anyone has any objections to the approval of the minutes. If so, okay. Any abstentions? Thank you, Commissioner. The motion carries. The minutes are approved.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask Olga Statz to introduce Oath's proposed final rule requiring identification for registered representatives at our hearings.
Good morning, everybody. This is at the final stage of the introduction of this rule. It has gone through the initial drafting stage, then the first proposal stage where all of you had an opportunity a few meetings ago to review in detail and to ask your questions, and it was approved then. It had to go through another approval in the law department. I'm sorry, it has to go through another approval in the law department, and it passed muster there. And now at this stage, we're just presenting it again, having been approved by the law department and all other agencies that had to take a look at it. We want you to just approve it so that we can now publish this rule and it can become an official rule of oath. Should I take these things out and just speak regularly?
Russ,
Whatever number ends in 08 should go on mute. Russ, is that you?
It might be. Hang on. I finally got through on the phone. Hang on.
Please put your phone on mute. Thank you.
Hang on. Okay, it should be okay now.
Okay, and thank you. I basically said what I wanted to say about it. We've reviewed it. It is a rule that will protect litigants and also allow oath to do better to assist the DOI and the DA's office to detect and root out fraud. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Real
Does
quick,
anyone
Amy.
have any questions for Olga?
Yeah, this is Tom. I
Hi.
just have a real quick question. Do we see a lot of people doing this under our auspices? I mean, does this happen a lot?
It used to happen more than it does now, but I mean, it happens.
I mean, I just don't remember ever really discussing it. It seems like a new thing. So I just was curious about like the context. I just never,
Well,
I feel like any crazy person can impersonate anybody, but like, I just didn't know that we needed to do a check down like this.
Yeah,
I
there was.
Yeah, I remember a few cases where there was like maybe somebody wasn't duly authorized and appeared at a hearing, but that person had apparent authority because they said they were an attorney or something like that. So I'm not in opposition, or I'm pretty agnostic here. I just didn't understand the background.
Well, this came as a result of a DOI suggestion that was made to us because there was a case where a person had been impersonating a rep, and it ended up going to the DA's office, and there were tens of thousands of dollars involved in all types of fraud. And as a result of that case, the DOI looked at some of our processes and thought that our making sure that we know exactly with whom we're dealing is going to be helpful to them. Because what happens is a person can put in a form, sign their name, and then say, that wasn't me, I didn't sign that. And there's no way to link that person to the form. By requiring that the reps show ID, and for the clerk's department individuals to actually note that they received the ID, the person can't say that wasn't me. That avenue of escape is no longer available to that person. So that's why we had this.
I mean, even the most unhinged person can make an appearance in federal district court, right? I mean, it's just interesting to me. It sounds like a good idea. I just didn't know like what the background was.
No, that was the background.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, what benefit do people get by impersonating?
You know, I asked myself that question a lot as well, because at first I came in with a logical mind. Why would you do something for someone and not get paid for it? Because if they don't know you're doing it, they're not going to pay you. But that's not the way it necessarily works. It seems that there's some sort of a way where people do something for someone and say, listen, I did this for you. I knocked down this fine, et cetera, et cetera. You owe me money. And some people have just fall for that. And that's not the only methodology of fraud. They're different. People get very creative. And so
I think I have heard in a prior meeting a discussion about people doing, they'll go and represent somebody without authorization and then say, I got this knocked down, where really they're comparing the default penalty to the standard penalty, and they didn't get it knocked down at all. They just actually were found in violation and got the standard penalty.
Yes.
Would you say they're also targeting immigrants or folks who don't speak the English well?
No, this is an equal opportunity fraud. I mean, it's people with small businesses, small building owners, anyone who's not, SL Green or people on that scale who know exactly what the score is. This is anyone who's doesn't have a constant intercourse with the city, et cetera, et cetera. So they feel that they owe something to that person, or that the person's giving them some information that they wouldn't normally have had. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the final rule, proposed final rule. Joy, can you please call roll?
Yes, we did not have a poll today, so
So we're just answer. Joy, you're on mute. I don't know if you intend to be.
And
Yeah,
no,
I approve. I'm sorry, I can't figure out the poll thing, but I approve.
that's okay. And that was Jorge Martinez, and I am so sorry. I added to the chat the question, do you approve of the adoption of the final rule requiring registered representatives to show ID? Now, I can ask you to vote yes or no in the chat, and then I'll take it from there. And I do have Mr. Martinez's response. So thank you. So far,
This
I have
is
both.
Doug.
Mr. Swan, are you also on the phone?
Yes, I approve.
Thank you so much, Mr. Swan. I seem to have votes from everyone. Tom, are you going to vote in the chat?
I'm voting yes. I wouldn't understand if I was putting it in the chat or not, but yes. I'm
Right.
okay.
Okay.
And it looks like with his vote, it looks like this passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. I'm now going to have Kelly Corso introduce the ceiling reports.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
We can.
Yes. Yes.
Great. Hi, Kelly Corso, Assistant Commissioner for Adjudications of the Hearing Division. And we have just 15 pre-sealing reports today. They're all backflow cases. And in 14 of them, the hearing officers agreed with DEP that there should be no further action or sealing of the premises because the respondents had demonstrated compliance during the hearings. And in the final one, the 15th one, they also agreed that there should be no further action, but that was based on the fact that the premises had been demolished, so no device was needed to be implemented at the premises anymore. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Kelly?
No.
Great.
No, I'm sorry, Joy, I just wanted to note that in the chat, it looks like Shamanda, who was not able to unmute her phone, had a question about the last item.
Yes, I see that. Commissioner and Peter, there was Shamanda, are you available? There was a question, but it was after discussion. It was during the vote.
Right. How these cases will be handled remotely. And yeah, and I think it's somewhat dependent on the timing for when the final rule is implemented. Olga, do you want?
Yes, absolutely. After it's published, Joy, how long is it going to take before it becomes final after we publish it? It's going to take like 30 days.
Yes, we as soon as since we have approved it, the next step is to publish it. I expect with the holidays coming up, I've estimated a publication date of December 30th. That means 30 days after. So by at least January 1st, I'm sorry, February 1st.
30th. Mm-hmm.
February 1st, yeah, January 30th or February 1st, this will go into effect. It depends on how soon and with the holidays when I can get it published, but at least by at the latest February 1st, it will be in effect.
And there's also something else, Shamanda. This rule was conceived of before this pandemic was ever an issue. There was no question in our mind back then that we would always have live hearings, and that's the way oath would run. So this particular rule didn't really take into account the remote aspect of it right now, because at this point it's a live rule. It's you show up, you're going to a hearing, and you have to show ID. And there's of course, we're going to, now that we're in this new world, we're going to have to perhaps think about ways to see if it's possible to do this remotely. But that really hasn't been the case. So far, we've just been ushering through this particular rule as conceived originally.
But thank you for raising that, because I do think it's worth having us have a conversation in terms of what current or future rules might need to be amended in light of the ongoing remote hearings.
Yes.
And
Okay.
Shamanda just made one more point in the chat, if everybody can see it. about adding in a disclaimer in the remote system that
Something like that does exist. I think Amy could speak to it better, but in the remote exchanges that I've seen, especially for the motions to vacate, there's a portion of it, or actually Peter could also speak to this. There's a portion of it where the person submitting the application has to say that, identify themselves and say that they have authority to put in the motion. So something like that does exist already, and had existed for an extended period of time. But I mean, people still do. Okay, great. I got it, Shamonda. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for raising that.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to confirm there are no questions for Kelly on the pre-sealing reports. No. Okay, great. Joy, can you do the roll call?
Yes, I will. At this point, I'm going to put the question in the chat, but I'm going to ask simply, is there any objections to our approving the pre-sealing, the 15 pre-sealing reports presented by Ms. Corso? Okay. Seeing and no objections and hearing no objections, this motion carries, Commissioner.
Thank you so much. I'm now going to ask Russ Pecunius to address DEP's request for cease and desist orders.
Russ, is your phone muted?
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, everything just froze. Hang on one second. Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay. I'm still getting it. Okay. No, I had to get off the WebEx because
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
It's freezing and starting and stopping and just going kind of crazy. So I'm just on the phone. Okay. This month, DEP is requesting that the board issue a cease and desist order to My Mandarin Incorporated, which is the owner of a restaurant located at 100 to 120 Brighton Beach Avenue in Brooklyn. DEP inspected this location and on August 20th of last year issued them a commissioner's order requiring them to install and maintain crease interceptors. When they failed to comply with that order, DEP then issued a series of summonses in November and December of last year, and in January, February, and March of this year. Then from March to October, because of the pandemic, there was no further enforcement action taken. In October, on October 6th, They were required to attend a mandatory compliance meeting with DEP, and they failed to appear for that mandatory compliance meeting. Based on the business's failure to comply with the order issued in September of 2019 and their continuing failure to comply in response to 5 summonses and a notice to attend the mandatory compliance meeting, the department is requesting that the board issue an order to cease and desist.
Thank you so much, Russ. Are there any questions? I don't see anyone. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve this cease and desist order. Thank you, Madeline. I'm going to call for a vote. Right?
Thank you. I'm going to now, I'm going to enter this in the chat, but I'm going to start with asking whether there are any objections to the approval of the DAP's request for a cease and desist order in this matter. And I see that there's been approval from everyone. No objections. Commissioner, the motion does carry.
Thank you so much. I'm now going to ask for a motion to go into executive session.
I'm sorry, before we go, there were 2 people who called in after we started. I just wanted to see if we can identify who they are. It's a 3472, number ending in 29. Number ending in 29.
That's Douglas Swan.
Okay, thank you. And number ending in 59.
Francis Shine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss new decisions in the cases that are in the judicial court. So everyone other than OTCB staff and the board should leave the room, but I don't know if they're, Peter, do you have that under control?
Hopefully. We'll see who's left once people leave.
Okay.
Let's see.
Are we all set?
Let's see. Yes, it looks like it. I'm going to pause the recording.
I need ice something.
You need to ice them?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to say hi?
Hi, come on, put this on.
I put this dress on. Can you wave?
Hi.
Hello.
I put this on. I put this on.
Okay, are we back in public session? Peter? Yeah, great. I just want to open up the floor to see if anyone has additional questions. All right, so for board dates for the next meeting, we're looking at February 11th or 18th. Does anyone want to advocate for one date over the other?
Yeah.
I know that's kind of far off at this point. So we'll put a hold on February 11th for now, Joy.
Thank you. I got, so the next date will be February 11th. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. And thank you again. Just, I want to reiterate what I said at the beginning of the meeting, if you didn't hear me, for just the remarkable work everyone has done this past year and through the pandemic. It's really incredible. And I appreciate everybody's work. And I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. And, you know,
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Elizabeth?
Sorry to interrupt. Maybe this is obsolete, but I have an appeal panel down for February 11th.
We can move that if we.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll move that so that it doesn't conflict with the board meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
sorry. I mean, we can also put the board meeting at February 18th. So is there a preference?
And if the appellate panel's already in place, why mess with it?
Yeah, so we'll move it, Joy. Let's move it to February 18th. Thank you.
I mean, candidly, those dates both seem abstract to me. I'm probably going to be stuck here at home. I don't know. This one is, astrologically superior or some other reason. I don't know.
I mean, the February 18th one would be during the school holidays, if that makes a difference to people, but
Probably not.
That's a pretty relevant
yeah.
question.
no ski vacations this year, so right?
Nope. No.
Can't say no.
No. Well, yeah, please stay safe, everyone. I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you, Madeline. And we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you.
safe and well. Bye.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Holidays.
Okay.